Welcome everyone. Fingers crossed this is working. So, had a little panic. OBS since last time I used it, which was last week, didn't look the same when I opened it back up again. That's the problem about updating stuff. Never update anything. If it works, just leave it alone. So yeah, it looked a little bit different. And the fact that I tried to install or make a timer. So everyone knows right about now, everyone's buffering as YouTube takes its time to do its thing and stabilize the stream. It gets a little bit choppy. So good so far, fingers crossed. And so people had ideas of putting countdown timers. So the whole idea, I've tried to get a countdown timer and messing around with that, and then think, oh, I might have something here. And then went over to get my OBS started for live streaming, and all that doesn't look anything like it should do. Whoops. Anyway, we are here. I'm still having certain things saying everything should be this, it should be that, and not got green. Now I've got green, there we go. Everything's working behind on my side, but hope everyone is good, hope everyone is well. What is the chat going on about so far? Spike's in the house already. Already at work, working on the bases for his square golf, launch monitor, Casey things, and yeah, that kind of idea. It was a good afternoon. Spike, or evening here, it's 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. for those count to 12. Yes. Your time is not relative. It's 2 p.m. here in South Carolina. Can't please you all. No, you can't please everybody. That is very, very true. Carl says, hello, nutlets. I can't remember. There was on Discord after the previous live stream, there was some ideas about what is the affectionate name for AskGolfNut disciples. Not quite sure we had a consensus at the end. Evening all, Steve's in the house. Evening Steve, hope you're good. Alex, hello. No Carl, just no. There we go, got an error already, so hopefully I come through okay. Neil says so good so far. What is that? That's my other phone, but over there, if not, it's gonna drag my attention. Peanuts. Yeah, that was the consensus, was it? Peanuts. Cool. Right. Everything is working good. Hello, Carl. How is Kyle? Everyone wish Kyle well. Is Kyle recovering nicely? Fingers, well, thumbs even, up that way, hopefully. Fingers crossed. All good. Right, so very, very quickly, let's just go through. Apologies to everybody. I tried to get a video out today. Obviously, as you can tell, I didn't. So the Cobra King Tech, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because it is a mighty lovely iron. I do like this one. That one there. Needs a bit of a buff. I'm not going to show it on camera when it's had my grubby fingerprints over. You never show off a dirty golf club. Right. That should do. That there. It is a really, really, really good looking iron. Like really good looking iron. It has a very similar like triangle bit there that you can see that the blade has, and it just looks so, so nice. Consider this as a player's distance iron, 29.5 degrees, one of the two, basically within a half degree. And it, there we go. It's really nice. It's got that classic, you can see the little screw. There you go. It's really good. It's got tungsten in it. It's the same technology basically as the previous one. If anyone who's a member of the website will know that the old, which is, where is it? Did I put it back? I can't remember if I put it back now. It was around here a little while ago. Over here. I don't know. I have got something else to show you guys though, so keep my eye out on that one. Yeah, I don't know where that's gone. Still in the cellophane, as you can see, arrived today, but we'll pick on this one anyway. So yes, the old Forged Tech, lovely iron, looked quite nice, felt really good as well, but its performance was good. You were struggling to find a longer iron than the Forged Tech and the Forged Tech X, really. They were really very, very good. Forgiveness wasn't brilliant low on the face. Fine, absolutely fine, heel and toe, no problems whatsoever. But low on the face, it was dire. That's probably the best word I could use. It was not good. And so anyone who was using the old, or looked at using the old Forged Tech, and they hit thin, in a custom fit, it was hilarious. They would just lose so much from low strikes, it was silly. So Income, the new one, very, very similar technology. Nothing's really changed from the idea of using it. It's just how they've used it is just night and day. Cobra knew that in certain aspects of the old iron, they didn't want to mess it up. Once, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But if something is broke, fix it. And they have done. Well, they've definitely done with the X. Obviously, the Forged Tech, or the King Tech, as it is now, it's not the biggest iron in the world. I mean, that makes it look much, much probably bigger than it actually is. It is not a big iron, this player's distance iron. It looks a really, really nice iron. Again, I don't think you'll be able to see what top lines are on that. I mean, very, very difficult to get top line thickness on that one. But again, you'll see the video review. Looks really good. It feels amazing for a player's distance iron. It's hollow body. It has got foam stuffed in it. Not exactly certain what kind of foam it is, but it's softer and lighter, apparently. But it makes a massive difference. So performance is just as good. Still as, should we say, non-functional for a 70-mile-an-hour swing. But again, that's, I don't want to go into too much of the performance, because if not, you won't watch the review. Probably will do. But the peak height is a little, it's not too bad. Descent angle slightly under 40 degrees. And so, yeah, could do better. It's a case of just get the loft and just crank it up. Retrospec it a fraction, maybe 1 or 2 degrees. That'll get the average descent angle back to plus 40, and all is good. And you've still got all the lovely feel of that. And again, you could, because of what it looks like, absolutely, you could blend this with a blade. It does look like a fat chunk, well, not fat blade, but it's not chunky at all. You compare it to the blade, it's chunky, but looks really good, feels really good. What a properly good option. The Forged Tech X, King Tech X, I'm going to get confused between those two. Basically, the new one, the 2025 one, when it comes to the difference in forgiveness over the old, is the absolute shocker of the two. That is good. The X, wow. Like, wow. It is a rocket, like a rocket. However, forgiveness-wise, compared to the old, I don't think there has been an update from a manufacturer. Okay, it's been 3 years. I don't think there's been an update from a manufacturer that I have known since, especially doing the heat maps side of things, or even just doing the old school forgiveness understanding of capturing shots, of just how much of a step forward a golf manufacturer has made in one golf club. Now, of course, the X is bigger, and so they can do more with it, but effectively, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Right, so Pete's evening all. Hello, Pete. Hope you are well. Thank you very much for joining in. Kyle says, hi, Kyle. How's the new head? Yes, doing good. Kyle had a new head. Yep, he went to hospital and got a new head. Carl's outstanding news. Carl, shiny. I'm guessing Carl's talking about the King Tech, not Kyle's head. Neil says, ooh, will we have a full cellophane unwrapping of the black Mizuno? Well, you may well do. So I have this in obviously the black. This one is going to be for the JPX 923, the old Forge, against the new Forge. Of course, everyone hopefully has seen my 925 Forge review and how good it is. And I've been looking forward to seeing it in the black, because Mizuno would like to say they'd make a massive song and dance over the fact that they do make the black option. The black option does make it look really quite small. I mean, it is not, that camera makes this look massive, when if you were to put this up against a golf ball, it's not big, and the black makes it look smaller, and it does look really, really very, very nice. I like it. So shall we have an opening? I don't mind. Yeah, we'll do an opening anyway. So normally, I don't know if it's going to work, because sometimes Mizuno ones are a little bit stuck around the edge here, but I just normally put my hand on like this and then just basically pull like that way off, so from the hosel over to the toe, and some of the times it just pops off. There we go, like that. Sometimes they can be a bit of a pain. Matte black. What do you think? Those are like stealthy. Well, not quite stealthy, because you're not allowed to say stealthy because that's already been taken, but covert. No, can't really say that either because that's kind of been taken before. Not quite. You know what I mean? Really nice. Like really, really nice. I'll be getting them out on the camera tomorrow because obviously that's a freshie. So I don't want to mark it up or anything else like that. To get it up on camera so you can see in 4K glory the blackness. Does really good. And I have got it also in the black dynamic gold. Obviously it's not gold. Dynamic gold mid tour issue 115 S400 black shaft as well. And I've got it in the Golf Pride thingamabob grip, which I don't really like. I don't like the multi-compound, never do, never have, never will. I prefer the Tour Velvet. I like normal rubber, none of this cord stuff. Anyway, so let's have a look at the comments very, very quick. I need to click something because at the moment on my other screen I have, there we go, I've got lines all going through it because I've selected something. There we go, clicked off. So we have as a Gimbo's in the house. Good evening, Mr. JS. Good evening, buddy, hope you're well. Andy, I'm not watching it regardless. Thanks, mate, appreciate your support on that. Spike says, I've tried the 440s at my son's house yesterday. If I get the right shaft in them, they go good for me. Had to go senior to get it to work at my 70 miles an hour. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, if anyone who's a member of the website would see the difference in, let's say, forgiveness between the same category within reason, the Hot Metal Pro against the G440. And yeah, so 369, evening all, hope you are well. Thank you very much for joining in. Grantham TN says JPX 925 a Hot Metal Pro versus the 925 Forge. Can you speak to the forgiveness differences? Yes, not much in it. The 925 Forged, of which I tested the silver one, which I've got over there, and of course we have the black one to show it off once more. Very good. Does very, very well. Like really very, very well. Considering it is under the category, as far as I am concerned, it is under the category of a player's distance iron. 30 degrees, that kind of number. On for the, this one here, this is 29, 29 and a half, can't remember, it was the Forge Tech. I will get wrong, keep on getting it wrong with the King Tech. The new one, that is player's distance as well. However, the other one, which is the King Tech X, got it. That's going under the umbrella of game improvement only on the basis of it looks exactly the same as that, it's just fatter, bigger, more tungsten and less loft. So it's going down the game improvement route. Right. What? Carl says when Jay squints his eyes, he reminds me of Cartman. You're gonna have to, yeah, that one's lost on me. Ryan says, take my money. Not me, I won't be taking anyone's money. The other day, get custom fit. Make sure you get custom fit. Niels has got some love hearts out for the black JPX 925 Forge. Steve says, looking very good. I think they do also. Do I prefer those or the silvers? I think I prefer the silvers on the basis they'll stay that colour as time goes on. Inevitably, you can't help it. Any coloured golf club will patina over time, we'll call it. And he says, I think it needs a bit of chrome on the toe. Exactly, that's what all of these Forged needs. Not. I'm so glad they didn't do that. The Hot Metal Pro, the Hot Metal High Launch. I mean, what were the designers of those golf clubs thinking from an aesthetics point of view, putting that chrome bit on the toe? Again, that's absolutely subjective and just ignore me completely, but really just horrid. That makes the new design completely acceptable. Yes, I agree. I mean, it does look a very nice. I haven't really looked at it until now. It came today, but I've been busy trying to get the Cobra King Tech video and the numbers video done. These are getting more complicated edits now. since I'm using the website more for the information, but yeah, we'll see. I do actually in that video for the King Tech, there you go, 2025, the new one. I also, in the back end of the number side, I compared it against the old one. I wasn't going to do a separate video for it. I just thought what I'd do is I'd just tag that on at the end. And the difference, especially in the X, where that one's coming afterwards, wowzers. So, Carl says, wonder how well they'll keep their finish. I suppose it all depends on how much you use them. If you were to get a set of these and just put them in a case, I never use them, and just have a really nice accentuated lighting in the right place, it would look really nice. And never use them. And then you never have to worry about the finish coming off. Paul, hello Paul Clanner, hope you're well. Yo, question on clubs, forgiveness. When do you change from a forgiving head to a near blade? Blades are more forgiving than you think. Would that be when you are 5 handicap? Oh, okay. That's, let's start that. Let's open that. Let's go down the rabbit hole of that one. Getting regular under 70s, or do you buy a set of blades and lessons? Wow, right, okay. Paul, first of all, let's just dump anyone who's watching this from now until whenever YouTube dies and all of their videos that have ever been uploaded just fade away. Anyone watching, anyone listening, just completely and utterly get rid of this handicap-based understanding of what kind of golf clubs you need. Equipment is designed on the basis of not what handicap should use them, but what a golfer who has, let's say, let's just pick on, I can't pick on that one because that's really, really good. I'll pick on an iron which has a specific part of the face which is very, very good at keeping ball speed up. And different golf clubs are protective. So if you imagine the Dynapower golf clubs, so the Wilson Dynapower ones, the new ones, their heat map is very like that. It's very much so laterally based. So anyone low on the face, not very good whatsoever. It's one of the best, if not the best, laterally across the face, so toe and heel. And so if you're a misser from toe or heel lateral misses, then there are golf clubs out there which do very much so better off toe, very much so better off heel. Mizuno Pro S3, which is basically a blade, is amazing off heel. One of, if not the best, forgiveness-wise, ball speed retention from heel strikes I've ever seen, and on all of the 60 or so irons that we have on the database now. www.askgolfnut.com. Thanks, Handy. And so there are different golf clubs that suit different people. Handicap is a measure of your score. That is it. It's got nothing to do with the equipment that you should use. Different golfers require different things because of their own natural delivery, whatever it be. Some golfers hit the golf ball very low because of their excessive de-lofting, and so trying to get a golf club that will possibly launch the golf ball a little bit better may be a good idea, especially if you are down the realms of a super, hyper, very, very good golfer, elite golfer. It is much easier to tweak the equipment than it is them. You don't want to mess around with them because they're already exceptionally good. You're just trying to tweak different parts of their equipment just to get the most out of it. When you're talking about a golfer which is higher handicap and generally hits the ball worse, although I have seen high handicap golfers that hit the middle every single time, hit the middle better than me. It's just their face control is off the planet and they just spray it everywhere. So they need lessons from a different point of view, but they could play blades. Although if you look at the handicap, absolutely, they say no way you play blades, blah, 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 blah. They could use an iron which is less forgiving, and they are, generally speaking, perceived as blades, although actually, if you look at it, the blades and then players' distance sector are very, very close. The players' cavity sector is by far the one that shines as a generalized, that's what it does. There's always going to be good ones, bad ones in every single category, but you kind of get the idea. And then game improvement, you kind of get the idea. So choose a iron based on what you need, launch factor, face spin rates, face speed, although that's not necessarily massively important, but and then its forgiveness potential, what it is off the toe, off its heel, off its low, depending on when you know you hit it. And if you're a miss hit of the face, like a sprayer, just get a golf club which is the most forgiving of most of the face. And again, for those people, that's why the whole reason why www.askgolfnut.com was created, was to allow you guys to make better decisions when you are buying your equipment. So many people get suckered into the marketing, so many people get suckered into the custom fitters selling you guys products when you're in there for your custom fits. The whole idea of all the tools and all the information and data on AskGolfNut.com is there for you guys to be informed better. You're armed with a bit more information, so when you go into your custom fits, you already know that you haven't got sufficient speed with this type of golf club at that type of loft to necessitate having a 5-iron or a 4-iron. You need to be moving it and then ignore what the fitters say, because effectively they're just trying to push sales down your throat. That's the whole idea. So everything out of the way, there's no such thing, there is such thing as handicap, but there should be no such thing as equipment choice based on handicap. Right, what we got? Frugal says, but I hit the 730 a lot better. The 730 is a lot bigger. It is a big girl, the old 730. It's about that big, and then the shaft. It's a huge, it's like a bucket on the end of the broomstick. It's the 730. Golf Ad, hi Jay, hope you're well. And I hope everyone is well also. 2 to 3 more weeks and my home course should be open. I can't wait. I haven't got the golf itch big time. Unfortunately, you've been about that deep of snow. So hopefully now it is starting to break and you will be playing soon. Lol, he doesn't watch South Park. You are right. I don't. 369 says, Jay, when do you think Cobra will release the new Tour iron? That's a really good question. So next time I am going to speak with Cobra, I will go get my pad of doom and I will write down lots of different things. I do that with all the manufacturers. So when I have a conversation with any manufacturer, I will just have lots and lots of things in my head. And I tell you what I'll do now, actually, I will do that now. So Cobra, so I'll just make a note, because if not, I forget things. Can't help it, so many things in the old noggin. And so Tour iron replacement. Question mark. 2 question marks, in fact. There we go. So I'll get that and try and get an idea. If I can get an idea, keep an eye on Discord. I will post my findings on the members side of Discord. So if you aren't a Discord user, there is somewhere up here in the list of blah-de-blah-de-blah, if I can get it back up, hang on a second. Discord, there you go, on here. You can have a look, or if you want to go to the any recent video in the description, there is a Discord link in there as well. But I'll post all my information on there and also post some information, if I can, on the website. So on the website, when you go onto the homepage, you've got a news and updates button. That's basically what I use just to keep you guys apprised as to what videos are coming, etc. But yeah, I'll use it for that as well. So, Spike says, will I get them with his discount to replace my 923s? No way, the feel is just not Mizuno. Yeah, Ryan says, would the black forged heads look stupid with a silver shaft? Again, that's up to you. Personally, I think the black on black looks really good. The black on silver, possibly not. But you can spray it. No, don't spray it. I don't know. So, what we got? Tubezilla, hello. So I see Titleist has finally given you clubs to test. Congrats. No, they haven't. I've met, so a very, very, very kind, understanding and helpful local pro, Paul Kent from Flemington, very kindly allowed me to borrow his demo drivers to use. So thank you very, very much. If anyone wants to get a custom fit for Titleist drivers and wants somewhere to go, there you go. Thank you very much, Paul, for that. Carl says, Andy, I couldn't figure out how to upload a picture here, so I put it in the Discord T-box. Uh-oh. Have I got one? Have I got up here? Let's just see if I can open it up. So you can see it in here instead. That's not it. That is it. There you go. Deary me. Right, next. Carl says, my miss is low, and the main reason I went back to my 243s, yeah, 243s low on the face is good. Really quite good. It has got those micro slots, etc. Really very, very good. And he says no pick in tee box. Dozer, what's the favourite player's cavity for forgiveness? Dozer, you'll have to go log on to the website for that one. I've said it loads and loads and loads of times. I've got videos on my channel about the best irons of 2024 and stuff. So you have to look at those ones if you want to. Or if you want to go onto the website and join the website, you can actually physically see the bronze tier, the cheapest tier of the lot, will actually give you access to all of the heat maps for all of the 60 or so irons on the list now. And so if you want to get more in depth and see where they're better than others in certain areas, the silver will do the advanced data, where it will give you much more precise to the tiniest degree on how the toe, heel and low, and you can sort them. So you can sort them in what irons are the best from low strikes, best to worst and stuff like that, and toe and heel. And of course any other thing as well. And then if you really want to, you can go on the radar chart and see how they all compare. Some people prefer the visual representation of the spider graph, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's quite good. But again, if you want to go full on, you can go to the gold tier, which will give you access to the self-fit tool, which then you can plot the flights. You put in your swing parameters, your swing speed, your angle attack, and then your amount of D-loft. And again, if people don't know that angle attack and then a D-loft, angle attack, generally speaking, is something that they kind of know. D-loft is a difficult one because it's not necessarily the thing that commonly people understand. But we can work out within reason what that will be by different other metrics. But if you need help and need any help, by all means, just get in contact with Andy and I. We will help you if we can. Andy says, if you get your flight window correct through the correct iron first and foremost, then pick the one with the correct forgiveness for you with that spec. That's what it's there for. As Akimbo says, AGN Golf Day for anyone on here to join. Anyway, AGN Golf Day, where AGN actually plays himself. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. Now, on a weird note, in May, I have got to go to a wedding. Once I haven't got to, it's the wife's friends, not necessarily mine, but we've been invited to a wedding up near St Andrews, and my intention is, if I can, to go to St Andrews for the day prior to the wedding. And because I have a little wonder over here, aka a 4K drone, I was hoping to go over there and just do like the 18th, where the bridge to the, that kind of idea. I was thinking about doing that. Now, of course, there is issues potentially with that. One, there's a no flight zone on certain parts, so I can't go to, like the hotel hole. I cannot do that because I'll be flying within the red zone and I'm not allowed to. But outside of that, just before the bridge, I can go over the bridge and onto the 18th green, not on it, but over it, and that's allowed. That is legal. Now I need to brush up on Scottish law, because Scottish law is slightly different to English law. I don't believe it is affected by this, but I will double check. But if I can obviously get some drone footage, then that'd be really good. And of course, the other problem is that some people don't like you flying drones over anywhere that they haven't agreed prior. So there is that one as well. And I'm not going to be one of those YouTubers that are just going to go over there on their drones just to provoke a reaction. If I can do it for a bit of cinematic loveliness, so I can show you guys on the website. There must be a way that I could on the Andy, there's got to be a way that we can have like a media button that anyone who's a member can get access to it. And of course, I could whack it on there for the guys on the website. Something like that. Might be an idea. Paul says, thanks for clearing that up, Jay. Great content. Keep it up. Thank you very, very much. So we got the King Tech and King Tech X coming very, very soon. King Tech tomorrow, King Tech X hopefully the day after, if we can get it done. And then we have the DS Adapt Max. That is a really good iron. It's about that big and it is fugly, like proper fugly. I've got it around here. I will show it to you guys because it is big. Like when I say big, I mean it is big. And I have a mini driver to show you as well. So stop me from carrying on. The news. Yeah, but when it comes to the news, anyone can watch that, can't they? So even just guests can come in and have a look at the news and updates. I'm talking about a button that, like a media button, that only is available to people that have a 1, 2, 3, the bronze, silver, or gold tier. And there you go. So there you go. So that is the DS Adapt Mahusive. No, it's Max, not Mahusive, but it is Mahusive. It's massive, and it's not a bad looking Goliath, I will admit that. It's fine. It's fugly fine. Now, conversely to the other one, when I said actually that makes the sole look bigger than it actually is, that camera actually makes it look smaller than it actually is. It's probably the same size as 2/3 of a golf ball. It's big. It's big. And it's got offset. Can you see that? Don't think you can see that. It's I reckon I could put a blade in between. There you go. Holy smokes. It's big. Anyway, enough of that. It's big. I mean, I have mentioned big enough. So top lines are, wow. There are some blades with sole thicknesses, which is not far off this top line. It's just big. Everything is big. And it's got that really kind of ugly neck to it. It's just ugly. It's just fugly. But it works really well. Like, really well. Just so easy to just do everything with it. It's great. It's just great. It's, I put that along the lines of like the Halo XLs, the 11 hybrids from 11, anything like that, which is just so ridiculously easy to hit. The fly highs, when I did the Mizuno fly highs, I think they're in 5 to 7. Obviously, it's a shame they don't make it an 8, 9 pitch wedge, etc., because they would be a wonderful set of irons, hybrids, direct line on replacements. Same thing. Really very, very good. Ryan says, AJ Golf Day, great shout. Darren says, yo Jay, it's been a while. It has, Darren, hope you're well. 369, have you ever compared T1 Under versus current King Tour? Currently playing the King Tour, don't know how they can make it any better. I have hit the Titleist irons by hitting other people's irons. Again, until I get media samples from Titleist themselves, it's just a pain in the backside, Titleist. They really, really are. But we've had this conversation already. The King Tour is an interesting golf club. It's a really, really, really good golf club. It's a really good overall, all-rounder, brilliant golf club. Face is fairly slow, it is, but it's really good. If you've got speed, the Tour, King Tour, is great. It's really good. With my personal belief from like the King Tour, the CB, and then obviously the blades are different beasts completely. It's about that big. It's lovely. I'm more concerned about them ruining it than I am anything else. I don't want them to ruin it. So I'd rather they didn't bring out something else, because the one they've got is perfectly good. Okay, from a sales point of view, they need to bring out something new, because just to generate a bit of hype, generate a bit of extra sales, that kind of idea. Keep it fresh, blah, 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 but it's really good, like really good. I don't want them to change it. I don't want Ping to change the i230. I'm on panic stations of the fact that they're going to change it in September to i250 or whatever they want to call it, and they're going to ruin it. If they ruin it, I'd be right peed off at Ping. Darren says, little one kept me busy last few weeks, as they generally do. And it doesn't stop either. So, Dozer, thanks for the feedback. Hey, you are doing an amazing job for the golf community. I'm trying. You can always but try. And also, everyone here is also contributing to that as well. Everyone who joins in on Discord, everyone who joins in on the chats, everyone who comments on the videos, everyone who does things like that is helping and assisting, getting the information out there to more and more people. All the people that go post on Golf WRX without getting banned, the Hackers Paradise without getting banned, and any other forum putting all the information out there, that is by far the most important thing, because that's what gets the videos out to new viewers. Yes, we do run the risk then of getting some morons watch, because you do. There's an idiot born every minute, especially on golf forums there seem to be. But it's important that we get the videos exposed to new people. So I'm happy to bat off the occasional daft comment. AGN audits, yes, that will be with the drone. Me on the drone, AGN audits, that over, no, please no. Or the golf, I could do a different web YouTube page, can I? Why not? Go around golf courses and pee them off by just flying drones over there. Oh, can you imagine that? That would be. It's much more difficult on golf courses, generally speaking, because obviously you've got to keep visual line of sight, and very much so difficult around the golf courses because of the fact you've got all the trees and stuff like that. And of course, you can go up to 120 meters in the UK at least with a drone, so you have got a certain amount of angle to it. But if you're really trying to get good, properly chasing down the fairways and watching balls being hit, and then you kind of get the idea. That has to be done really whilst you're on the fairway, so you can kind of, yeah. Right. So Darren says, why do brands making irons stronger lofts? Is it purely for distance? Wouldn't a 34 degree 7 iron be more forgiving than a 30 degree 7 iron as long as weight distribution in club head is the same? And he says you can add videos to the new feed. Oh yes, Ryan, love that. Ha ha ha. What was that? AGN audits. There we go. News. Oh, we got a DS Adapt Trojan. I know Andy might pipe in on the Darren's one. That's a long-winded comp. Well, that's a long-winded. Okay, so you can have a 34 degree lofted head. Let's take a blade, for instance. Let's just take the blade, because there's blades on the one side of the scale. Generally speaking, you will find that a blade will have a relatively higher CG than that of a low CG, big game improvement iron, one say with tungsten in it, and every single thing they can hopefully do within its design to pull the center of gravity as low and further away from the face as they possibly can do. When I say further away from the face, it's moving it marginally, no different to vertically as well, but it is still there. And I've hurt my finger somehow, and that's just catching every single time I play with it, doesn't matter. And so by using a 34 degree against a 34 degree, no difference, 134, 134, exactly the same. Like for like, the other golf club, the ones with the lower center of gravity, is just going to launch the golf ball. Its launch factor will be higher. Now, if you're a golfer, let's say, of limited speed, or even a golfer that doesn't launch the golf ball very, very well, going to a golf club with a lower center of gravity so it physically launches the golf club or golf ball better for its loft, that's why we have launch factor. Launch factor is effectively just a measure, loft for loft adjusted, how well a golf club launches a golf ball. Because there is a difference between, give or take, I want to say around about 80% of its dynamic loft delivered to in the mid to high 60s. Well, that's quite a big range. See, nearly 15 or so % is quite a big range to have. You deliver whatever loft, and there is a 15%, give or take, difference in launch between irons. Well, that could be the making or breaking of a functional flight or not. And so, of course, as soon as you start making things a little bit easy to launch and stuff like that, the problem is they do go up. And by moving it up a lot, they go up too high. And so they have to move the lofts to try and bring the launch window basically into line, because everything, if not, will just go mental. That's the whole idea. They crank the loft to try and keep the launch window sensible. If not, if they just did that, everything would just go up like this. And the whole idea is to try and get the golf ball going forward rather than just going up. Because the more you get a golf ball going up with loft, remember this when it comes to forgiveness and all this lot, what people perceive, as soon as you have so much loft, loft then becomes your biggest friend, nothing to do with face technology. That is why golf club manufacturers bleed the technology out. You're going to get all the full-on hardcore technology in the 4, 5, 6 and 7 iron, And then you'll find quite a lot of people will go 7-iron, 8-iron will be the transition of the moving around of technology. Either it'll be a fairly sudden jump, or it'll be a bleed off between those two sets of two golf clubs. And then by the time you get into your 9 pitching wedge, gap wedge, absolutely, it is relatively boring, because you don't want that golf ball going up like that, because that's what loft is doing already. So there's always going to be a transition. But there is a much more complex answer than just that. And again, Darren, if you want to go pop on Discord and stuff like this, we can have conversations galore about the intricacies of the different CG placements, etc. Right, where are we? Neil says 3 cars were not built due to steel used in that one. I haven't got a clue what's going on. This is sort of ages ago, because you know how up to date I am on the. I'm always on it when it comes to being like. I'm always running about 12 minutes behind, because I can't help it. Someone will ask a question and it deserves an answer, and so I'll answer it. And of course, everyone else is still going. But Anthony, hello Anthony, hope you're well. Have you done a C725 driver review? Low spin, high MOI, beast. No, being honest. I'm happy to do one, and if Tour Edge want to send me one, I will do it. My gripe, and I don't mind if Tour Edge, John I can't remember who it was. Anyway, if Tour Edge are watching, I don't mind. Let's be absolutely completely open and honest. I think I was with the email that I sent back. They sent me an email basically saying, what spec do I want the fairway woods and the hybrids? And I basically sort of replied back to them, don't worry about sending the fairway woods and hybrids, because really I want the irons. If you want to promote your product, get it to the biggest audience possible. Fairway woods and hybrids aren't it. If do the drivers, do the irons, and then do the fairway woods and hybrids once it's grabbed, once it's gained some momentum. But when the drivers come out, they only sent me one driver. So as far as I'm concerned, they only want me to review one driver. They knew full well what my specs were. They knew full well, bear in mind I did ask for it, and they only chose to send me one of the two. So as far as I'm concerned, they didn't want me to do the other one. I've said to them, look, I'll pass on the fairway wood and hybrid, because really what's important, I want the irons. And if you want me to do the driver, just beware of your golf club has now been out for quite some time, and the release, always the best time to do any kind of content on something is within a very recent window. And of course, the bigger the brand, the bigger that window. So release date obviously is the most important day potentially to get something out there, because it's got the most attention. But then you have other brands will do like Cobra, because they have different tiers of media partnerships. You're always going to have a bleed off of a certain reviews will be done at different times and keep the story going. When you're Tour Edge, which you're not a TaylorMade, you're not even a Shrixon, you kind of get the idea. As far as I'm concerned, you need to be getting the product out there on the date of embargo, because you want the most opportunity for every single person who you've given your equipment to, hopefully giving it enough time between obviously giving them to it to review and the embargo date being up, to review that product and get it out all in one go, because it's really good for getting as much notice as possible, getting as much people talking about it as possible. Dribbles and drabs doesn't really work, in my opinion, for a smaller brand. That's my reasoning, and they haven't replied after that, so it's up to them. I'm absolutely happy to review the C25 driver, absolutely unbiased. I don't care. Quad reads it, not me, and see how well it does. I thought it was important to put that caveat of, if you are going to send it, don't expect it to do as well as the previous one, because the previous one I basically got ready for embargo. Now we're doing something months and months afterwards, so that's not going to happen. There you go. Andy says, I want the King Tour to have the Dark Speed's phase speed. Yes, then potentially it won't have the King Tour's forgiveness properties if you make the middle that fast. But wouldn't that be good if it did? Ryan says, 95 Hot Metal Pro are the same size as i230. It would be very, very close. If you were to go get the very nears out, you could probably do a, not on every single dimension, but head size could be fairly close. Other dimensions won't be the same. I230 will be bigger. Like sole thickness, the I230 will have a thinner sole. Not unless I'm completely and utterly misrepresenting it, and I apologise if I am, but from memory, I would say even with the Hotmail Pro being the smaller version of the Hotmails, it is still a slightly bigger golf club, especially from sole thickness. When it comes to blade lengths, etc., actually, you're probably right, there's not that much in it, if anything. Scott, hello Scott, any review in the future for the sub 70 859 Pro driver? Possibly, possibly not, it depends. Scott, all of this all depends on what people want. And at the moment, Scott, honestly, you're the only one so far that has requested doing the 859 Pro driver. If I get enough requests that I think it's worth me spending 2 days to do the review, then absolutely, I'll do it. But for it's got to be, to a certain extent, there's got to be a little bit of an understanding of, is it worth my time doing? If it is worth the time doing, absolutely, it's a good idea to do. Scott, also, I can see you're still a member. Thank you very much, obviously, for joining YouTube memberships. I'm trying to move everybody from YouTube memberships over to the website. So anyone who's still a member, if you could cancel your YouTube membership and then go onto the website and make sure that you have your login details for the website so we can do all that. This is open to all access. It will continue to be open on all access, and I just need to change the information down there because it's now nearly 60 plus, but we'll say, yeah, it doesn't matter. Then if you could do that, that'd be great, because I'm wanting to turn off YouTube memberships soon. And so anyone who's a YouTube member, itchy eyeball, if you could email me, contact me at j@askgolfnut.com or askgolfnut@gmail.com. Yeah, either way, don't mind. And I can get your login details, username, password to get you into the website, give you access to that. And of course, yeah, that's the whole idea. So anyone who's a member, cancel YouTube memberships, contact me via email, and then we can get your login details for the website. These are all continuing. All the YouTube live streams are all going to be open all access. Andy says at 369, that's partly it's CG is higher and has more spin, so all that's added together limits speed. Hang on, I've missed one, sorry. 369 said, interesting that you say the face of King Tour is fairly slow. Maybe that's what makes it more consistent across the face. That's a definite way that manufacturers can choose to give itself the most chance of keeping face speeds up across weird and wonderful parts without doing some weird and wonderful stuff. Variable face thickness, in my view at least, should be done slightly differently what they're doing. They're trying to make the face as fast as they possibly can do, and then they're trying to make the outside edges as fast as they possibly can do without it breaking. I personally think they should do it the other way around. They should effectively make the outsides fast, yes, but then when they register the from swing robots, etc., what is the ball speed coming off of that from certain hits? They should then dumb the middle down, not try and make that as fast as well, and then try and push around the outsides. It is better in general if you have a more consistent face, and that would effectively mean making the middle face thickness slightly thicker than they currently do. That would make a much more consistent iron. Yeah, that's my opinion. There you go. 9 minutes, yeah, I'm only 9 minutes behind, which is good. Darren says, Jay, you mentioned talking on Discord regarding the irons. What details do I need to find you on Discord? I'm designing a set of irons currently. Wow, that's not bad. 2 things down. Andy's very kindly popped a Discord link, and every single one of my recent videos in the description, there is a Discord link for someone to copy and paste into a browser of their choice. And of course, they can go to Discord that way. Discord is so much better than anything to do with YouTube, because YouTube is not interactive, hardly at all. I can't really do anything with YouTube, nothing compared that you can do with Discord. And so if you have any questions, queries, or anything else like that, it's great to stick it on a comment. If it's something that I can answer in a comment, absolutely I will do. If it's something very much more interactive, something that requires pictures and screenshots and stuff like that, Discord all the way, it's very, very good. 369, Andy, so is the CG on the T100s lower than the King Tour? They also had different shafts. Project X versus Project XLZ in the, yeah, that's big difference. Those two shafts are a big difference. Don't worry about the heads. Don't worry about the heads. Those two shafts, fairly different. We don't have data on the T100s. We do not. And according to a third party, the T100 is 0.779 and the Tour is 0.815. So yes, lower. There you go. Dozer, do you have a chart for getting fit properly, i.e. launch, spin, height, etc.? Is this something available within the AG membership? Right, so yes and no. The problem is there such thing as ideal launch windows? Yes and no. So yes, there are, and no, there's not. There's no one. There's a massive difference between if you want to gain the most distance, then there is a chart, a fitting chart for the maximum distance you can attain. So you are looking for the highest launch factor you can do. You want an iron with the lowest face spin rate as you possibly can do, the fastest face speed, fairly cranked lofts, and get that golf ball going. Now that's a completely different thing against functional distance. Now if you're talking about functional distance, the problem with functional distance, it is absolutely dictated to by the individual's own club delivery. Now on the self-fit tool, the gold tier member, the reason why it's on gold tier member because it took an age to create, and it is exceptionally complex on the back end of the self-fit tool, and it is amazing. It brings in all of the information that we gain from all the shots that we hit. It gets all of the forgiveness data, it gets all of the advanced data, how fast the face is, what the launch factor is, the face spin rates, all of these things, and basically then puts all the information into a self-fit tool. So you put your club head speed in for your 7-iron. You put in your attack angle at the top with your 7-iron, and you put how much you de-loft. And again, if people don't know how they de-loft, we can then backwards engineer it if they understand what their launch numbers are, their launch angle numbers are, as a general rule. It's not perfect, but it's very, very close. And then you just select your irons. You've seen the videos that I've done, the recent videos that I've done when I've actually shown you what happens and the distinct differences, or not sometimes, between irons of a certain group. I mean, you've got 60 or so irons in the list, and of course you can just select whichever one, compare one against the other. And it's not just the 7-irons. This is the good thing. It does list, say, 4-iron to pitching wedge in all of the sets and shows you what the peak heights and descent angles are projected to be if you hit a optimum shot. Now, of course, if you have an 80-mile-an-hour swing, you hit down by 2 degrees and you de-loft by 2 degrees, let's just call it that, and you hit a perfectly straight shot, that is your club path is basically 0, face is 0, that kind of idea. They're optimum kind of numbers. That is as far as that golf ball is going to go. That's as high as that golf ball is going to go. And that will descend as steep as that golf ball will do, with your swing being exactly robotic. People aren't like that. And so, yes, what you'll find on the gold tier, the self-fit tool, you actually may be slightly longer than that. If you play a draw, a lower spin profile, and you play a draw, you might be slightly longer. If you play a fade, you might be slightly shorter. But the point of the self-fit tool is very much so marrying the differences or comparing the differences between two irons. So if you are shorter because of your dynamics, or you're longer because of your dynamics, that is not necessarily important. The importance is, what are the differences between the two irons that you're comparing? Whatever they are, whether there's a 10% difference between these two irons, if you are 10% shorter or 10% longer or whatever, there will still be a 10% difference between these golf clubs. That's the important part of the self-fit tool. And because of the fact that people want different things from different golf clubs, there is no such thing as ideal fitting. It is not like a driver. A driver is very much so, like I said at the start, if you're looking for optimal distance, yes, there is a launch window. Irons are not that. You don't want just uber distance from an iron. You've got many of them in your bag and they've all got different lofts on. So you absolutely need to focus on functionality rather than anything to do with distance. Leave that to the driver, etc. But yeah, that's why the gold tier self-fit tool was created. Right, where are we? Andrew, hello Andrew Beckman, hope you are well. Thank you very much for posting your question. Possibly looking into getting some new irons this year. I'm not sure which ones to get. Been looking at 925 Forged, Pro 245, AI 200, P790. I'm a higher handicap. Any help would be awesome. So the good news on those, all those four I have on the website, www.askgolfnut.com. If you just want to see how forgiving they all are, then you can go on the website as a bronze tier. You've seen the heat maps that I do on the overlays. You can physically see the drop-offs on the overlays, compare the overlays and just see how good one compares to the other. I know I've already got pure forgiveness. If you're looking for which one's going to be the most forgiving out of the other ones, obviously on those heat maps, just choose the one with the biggest green blob and the one that has the biggest amount of yellow and the least amount of red and the least amount of orange. If you are looking for a little bit more of a specific flight side of things, you'd have to go to the silver tier where you get the advanced data. That's where you can actually see the launch factor and face spin rate. If you know that you spin the golf ball too much, then potentially looking at one of the options of those four, if they're the ones you want to have a look at. The one with the lowest face spin rate would be the better one. Of course, let's say you don't launch the golf ball very high, you're quite a low ball flight hitter, and out of those four, you'd be choosing the one with the highest launch factor. But again, and you can, if you want to go gold tier, you can check them all out on the self-fit tool and see which ones you get better trajectory for your own personal swing dynamics and which one you get better distance for that trajectory as well. Andy says, built by Einstein level intellect. So he says himself. There is a certain thing about someone else blowing the trumpet. You shouldn't be blowing your own one, but you are right. 369 says, Andy, that's helpful. So T100s with lower certain and center of gravity and the LZ shaft were launching 2 to 3 degrees higher. Yes, that makes sense now. The LZ shaft, the launch, so okay, I don't know because I haven't actually physically measured it. Now, I don't know, I've got an idea what the third-party website is measuring the center of gravity. Understanding what actual difference that makes to its launch factor is another thing because I haven't tested the T series of irons. So we'll have to go with what they say. The LZ is a very, very active shaft. If you are shaft sensitive, like the vast majority of people are, to a greater or lesser degree, if you are definitely on the mid to greater side of that spectrum, wow, the LZ is active. So you're going to get some variance, definitely. And 2 to 3 degrees, that could absolutely come from shaft. If you're comparing, say, a fairly linear, stout Project X shaft to the LZ, I mean, if I could get the, I mean, I don't know if I could get the, I'll take time to do it, getting the Mizuno PFS system up and showing you just the differences in bend profile between those two, quite some difference. So that 2 to 3 degrees could very well be coming from how you react to the LZ and nothing to do with the CG difference. But again, without testing the actual differences in CG, because obviously you've got measured CG about what a golf club will do apparently, and then what actually happens is sometimes not always linear. You don't always get the same return. Sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less, sometimes you get exactly what you're expecting. But again, until I measure it, we don't know. But let's just assume for that point of view that Andy, what he says there is that linear difference, but I'm not surprised with that LZ shaft. That makes sense now. I thought I was going crazy. 8 iron, 20 degrees versus 23 degrees. 23 degrees is a fraction high. But depending on obviously how you deliver. So generally speaking, problem is that's really interesting now because I've hit so many golf clubs of different lofts, etc. I'm not quite sure exactly what launch angle I deliver on different golf clubs anymore. It's just such a blur. But I'm a fairly high launching person. I can quite easily punch it in really low if I want to, but I like to see some flight because I've always wanted to have the capacity to stop the ball on the green if I want to. So if I want to be able to hit shots that I can just hit normal shots and they go in the green and stop, that's what I want as my baseline. And then if I need to, I can then lower the flight. That's the whole idea of it. I don't necessarily want to pigeonhole myself into having a certain flight and then struggling to move the golf ball. I'm not necessarily someone who moves the golf ball massively left to right or right to left. I will do it if I'm in between golf clubs, but it's a relatively small turn. I am someone who moves flight up and down. So, yeah. Right, so Andy says, so the range of launch factor is 70 to 80%. So if what is the Blueprint S? Is that 67 or something? 67.8. So yeah, so both more. So you can deliver 25 degrees for an iron, and that can produce a difference of 17.5 degrees launch, 20 degrees launch, or fractionally more because, yeah, but you're absolutely right. That's what she said. Probably something that I've said earlier on. 369, 3 degrees down, okay. Carl said soft tip versus stiff tip for someone with early release. Potentially huge. That's the thing. It all depends on how you react to it. It could be massive or it could be nothing, depending. And again, it's so... over the years, I have measured so many different people, expected so many different things, only to find myself basically like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. That's gone the opposite way round. And this is what happens when you're dealing with messy humans. They react in a very, very weird way. And so much to do with the shaft cycling idea. Manufacturers will have you perceive a shaft doing certain things at impact. Generally speaking though, depending on how the golfer transitions, how aggressive they are initially, how they pull on the handle, the speed in which they move the handle, and the speed in which they move the head initially relative to the handle, if they get rid of lag or whatever, or hold on to it, you have something called shaft cycling, and the shaft cycling can happen at different parts. And so two people with the same shaft can absolutely, completely and utterly deliver two completely different dynamic loft deliveries based on the same handle position at impact because of how they've created the shaft cycling going during transition. Does that make sense? Scream if not. Glyn says, will you be doing a review on the Srixon SXIs? The ZXIs? Yes. So, is this the right phone? It is the right phone. Good. Let's have a little look. Let's check to see if I've actually received any form of... so I messaged Srixon today. And there's green at that, not black. So green was the message I last left. And it's basically, morning, whoever. Did you get any word back from the team regarding delivery times? It has been read, has not been as yet replied to. So I'm hoping to get a reply, and that will obviously let me know what kind of time we're looking at. So for the ZXIs, we have this. We have the drivers. We've got the 3 driver heads. They're coming in the hazardous black stiff shaft. We've got the 7 iron in each model with a KBS Tour stiff shaft in it. Apparently they're sending 1 dozen of each of the new ball as well. There you go. Don't know why on that one, but again, it'll be here. It's fine. I just need to know when they're coming, because that by far is the most requested set of videos so far, which is the ZXIs, and so I really need to get them done. But I can't do them if I haven't got them, and I'm keep on pressurising the manufacturer to try and get them here, get them here, get them here. but unfortunately, yeah. 369, Jay, you still gaming the STZ 230 driver? No, ST Max 230 driver of, well, side graded. It's not an upgrade, it's not a downgrade, it's a side grade. So yeah, the Max. On the basis of it's a really decent spin profile, launch and spin profile driver anyway. It's not hugely spinny. It's not massively spinny. And so it's not something which is creating forgiveness purely on the basis of hyper massive amounts of backspin. But what it's doing, it's just really decently forgiving, and its launch window is pretty decent how I've set it up. I have got it in the Hulk shaft, I've got it in the hazardous green, it looks lovely. But yeah, that's what I'm running at the moment, the ST230 Max. And he says, in general, the earlier the release, the less profile matters as the shaft is under less dynamic load closer to the golf ball. Yes, so if you imagine shaft cycling like a ruler. If you remember when you're at school, when you put it on the ruler on the end, you go brrr, 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 that kind of idea, yeah. So imagine shaft cycling is that. You basically just pull it and you go bong, and it will go brrr. And of course, as time goes on, it gets lower and lower and lower. It doesn't carry on going more and more and more. There's no extra load putting onto it. So if you literally just ping it, it will literally go up. It's like that classic, have you seen the video where someone is sort of got like a massive bowling ball on a string? And he's up against the wall and he's pulled it away like this, and he's right up against his nose and he lets it go. And of course it swings down, goes up to the back of the end, then comes back again, and it's about to smack his teeth out and it just misses his nose. That's the whole idea. You know, obviously you've got air resistance and stuff like that, and of course you're losing energy, and no different to the shaft. As soon as you load that shaft, if you don't put any extra directional load into it, which exacerbates its bend, then it will slowly dissipate its energy. Now, obviously a lot of people that casters, etc., they do that. They get rid of the angles really quick, and of course they've got no other angles because they've got rid of their wrist angles, and so they're all body. After that, there is no load going through that shaft after the initial wrist release. And so yes, it's shaft in itself is a crazy world, because people will argue till they're blue in the face how a shaft will do something, when in actual fact, because humans are messy and we do things massively different and we react massively differently to different stimulus, that there is no will. It always is, let's find out. You can have a fitting. I'm a great advocate of the PFS, the Mizuno, the performance fitting system, with the Swing DNA tool, because the Swing DNA tool gives me a ballpark understanding of how they load the shaft. But all it does is give me a ballpark as to understand what should fit their bend profile. How they react to it is a completely different thing. But the great thing with PFS and the Swing DNA tool over just bumper car fitting, where someone just gives you a shaft and it won't work, so they give you something of completely opposite and see how you react to it and stuff like that. But obviously that can take a while. You can get hundreds and hundreds of shots, get absolutely knackered, and by the time you've found the right shaft, you're only swinging a certain amount of percent of your load that you were before, because you're knackered. But the great thing obviously with the PFS and Swing DNA tool is you can swing it 3 times, get an understanding of how your load profile is, and then we have got a very good baseline to go to, so we can find the shaft that's right for you much quicker. Save the energy. Right. Anthony says, sup peanut gallery. Happy Monday. The peanuts. Glyn says, excellent, many thanks. No worries whatsoever, glad I could help. Carl says, Swing DNA wanted me in a soft tip, but I found very heavy and stiff tip to work best for me, which I thought made me backwards. No. It's how you react. So you may be, if you're in between and you've got the option to soft step, then you may go into that. If you require just a fraction more kick from something, then you may necessarily, but that works only on the basis that people require the kick because they need it, because they flick it in the right place. You could actually have someone who has a stiffer tip, but they actually launch it higher. It's because The stiffer the tip only references as to how much that golf club is going to basically go bang. A weaker will make it travel more. If you're at a part of your shaft cycling where the actual golf club, people think that when you come into impact, the golf club is in massive lead, not lag. So you've got what you call, so you've got lag, which people understand because it's behind the shaft line, or the grip down the shaft line, the head is behind. And then lead is when it catches up and bends this way and it's sort of like doing this as you're flinging along. But commonly, you can actually have someone who's going backwards. The golf club's starting to come backwards. As they're coming into it, they've gone past full lead and they're going back from neutral into lag, depending on obviously when you start that shaft cycle and what input you put into it. So you can actually end up with, because you go stiffer tip, you interrupt that shaft cycling at a different frequency, and effectively you are producing more loft because it hasn't as yet been allowed to go back so far. Okay, it's getting boring now, so I've got to be careful. You're going to get about 7 viewers going to be watching this. What's the time? Got to keep an eye on the time. Right, what have we got? What have we got? Right, so 369 says, would be nice to hear the comparison between the STZ 230 and the 230 Max. Very, very, very similar. Just the Max is more forgiving. That's basically it. I didn't really notice any difference really in my setup. I went from the same head to the same head lofted head. Didn't have to change the loft or anything, just kept it as it was, and it basically did the exact same job. It just went, I'm not having an on day and I'm having an off day. I'm glad I've got the Max in now. So the STZ was effectively neutral. The STX was slightly draw biased in its setup, or the center of gravity was slightly towards the heel. That promotes different things depending on what kind of golf you are, but the Z was more neutral, and of course then the Max was designed to be basically very, very similar to the Z, wherever you are in the world, but offer more forgiveness, better ball speed retention and better distance factor retention when you don't hit the middle. Ero says, hello all. Hello, Ero. Hope you're good. What we going? Oh, we missed one. Sorry, name withdrawn. Always a good name. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. Wanted to recommend the CBX4s, hitting laser beams with them. Most accurate wedge I've ever used. Excuse me, YouTube when you pops. So Cleveland wedges have always been very, very good. Always been very, very good. I'm a great advocate of Cleveland wedges. Cleveland do obviously other equipment. They make irons, they make Halo XLs, which are really quite ugly, but they are really quite good. They make their drivers and other things as well. But they're really never, because of the marketing side of things, and of course you've got Shrixon as well, the same company, they don't want to step on Shrixon. So they're trying to capture different parts of the market. But their wedges, the Cleveland wedges, have always been really, really good, like properly good. And I honestly think that more people need to test the Cleveland wedges. They really are good. Andy says, well, Carl, I would say you're still backwards, but not because of shaft fit. Ero says, Jay, would you upgrade from a G430 Max to a G400? Or sorry, G440? No. Andy says, Little Nut, aka Anthony, and Big Nut, aka Hero, turned up. Oh, you lot. Ryan says, I pured my shafts and it saved me 5 shots around. Promise. And I just read what Andy says. Anthony says, hell yeah, I'll take the Little Nut title. That's what she said. Hero says, I like to think we keep you on your toes, Andy. I'm the nutcracker, says Andy. I'm not quite sure where this is going. Heroes, did I miss someone asking about tightless irons yet? Yeah, what I want, right, is I want every single subscriber, or every single person they're watching this, I want them just to spend 3 minutes of their time just to email Titleist and ask them to contact j@askgolfnut.com or askgolfnut@gmail.com. Either or, I don't care. Any of those email addresses will get to me. And just get back to me. Just send me an email. It doesn't have to be any form, just open a line of communication. That is all I care about. I have kind of lost the will to live with it. And I think if everyone just sent them the same email, they might get the point. So, Jonas, says, I'm very interested in 11 hybrids, full set. You are very into what man should, you are very into what man should do a custom fitting, but you cannot do that in 11. Shall I still order a set? Gotcha, sorry. That's, well, I can, Jonas, I'm guessing English is not first language, and how I read that, you probably guessed that English isn't my first language, but it is. So, 11s are more difficult, obviously, to custom fit because their shaft selection is obviously not as good. If you're going to go to, say, let's go full on, let's go Mizuno. Mizuno offer still to this date, as far as I know anyway, the largest choice of shafts as a stock option than any other manufacturer. So they have a massive, absolutely massive array of shafts. And that's why you have things like the PFS swing DNA tool to cut all through the chaff and find something that you need. That very much so is down what I would see as a proper custom fitting, and you pay for that. You do. And some places you'll go to get a premium, paying premium as well, and you'll get your custom fitting. Some will be free. In my realm, when I used to coach and custom fit full time, I did no free sessions because I had no care, I had no skin in the game or anything else like that when it comes to the commission of that sale. I didn't get involved in that. All I did was the custom fitting. If they wanted to buy, that's down to the retail side. You can go in there and then you can argue the case with them, how much you want to get for them and what discount you get or whatever it be. That's that side. From my side, I'm always trying to get the best deals I possibly can do. So I'm seeing if I can find on the internet what's the cheapest price and stuff like that. Because for me, it makes no difference. I get paid from the fitting, or I did get paid from the fitting. That was my ethos. That was how I did things, because it enables me to be completely unbiased, honest, professional, and in no way try and ram as many golf clubs down the client's throat as possible because I'm making money on it. No, that's why I personally believe in a paid for fitting. When you're talking about 11, it's distinctly cheaper. So I would, as a general rule, when it comes to 11s, because you're right, there are hardly any shaft options in there relatively compared to, let's say, Mizuno, absolutely. But you'd argue some proper manufacturers, bigger manufacturers, don't have nowhere near the same amount of shafts. Ping, for example, they don't have the same amount of shafts as Mizuno, not even close. And they are a proper manufacturer. So when it comes to 11, I would always say that if you have had a previous custom fitting and you've got the idea of what kind of shaft suits you, get as close as you can when it comes to bend profiles, etc. Don't be afraid to ring them up. Richard or Nick especially, Nick is their custom builder, very good golfer, and custom builds them. If you have any questions regarding the 11 products and what shafts you should have and any questions like that prior to you buying, make sure you give them a call or at least contact them via email or something like that. So I think Richard's mobile number, WhatsApp, etc., is actually on the website. So you can WhatsApp him directly. He's quite happy, and if he can't answer the question, he will go to Nick and get back to you. Right, so where are we? Andy says probably Twisted Nut. We're still going on. How's it going? I like Twisted Nut. Right, Hero says, Jay, in your gapping, how far does your 5 or 6 iron go before you switch to hybrids or yardage? So 6 iron is 178. We are talking about a 5 iron is about 190, 189, 190, 191, depending on how I am that day. 164, 178, and 190. So we're kind of petering out. You can see what I start seeing is in a 5-iron, the gapping moves slightly compared to that of the rest of them. And that is my note for, we're going to get to a point very quickly, go to a 4-iron. And I think my 4-iron's about 200, I think. And so we're going like from 13, 14 yards, whatever it be, then to 11 to 10. You can start seeing it goes. And then you can see peak height, descent angle aren't sufficient. So you get to a point of diminishing returns. Now, obviously, I am fairly quick. I'm not hyper fast or anything else like that, but I've got a decent swing speed. And so that just happens later. For the guys that happen to swing at 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, that will happen earlier. And it's then down to the fitter to make sure that you fit around what is the most functional iron. And at that point, that's the whole idea of the Self-Fit app, guys. You put your information in there and it will show you what your descent angles are for your golf clubs under optimal conditions. So if you've got under optimal conditions and you know that a 5-iron's going in at 40 degrees and it's optimal, golfers generally speaking are slightly to a greater or lesser degree wasteful in their delivery. They don't hit perfect shots. We are not a swing robot. And so when you got the Self-Fit tool saying that you're at 40 degrees with a 5-iron, in my head, I'm thinking 6-iron is your longest iron, and then 5, we're going to transfer into some kind of hybrid. But then when it comes to me, I do have a 5-iron, and it's still fine, still goes into a green 45 degrees. I can use a 4-iron, but I have to hit it high to get that 45 degrees. And of course, effectively, all it is then is a one-dimensional golf club. I can only just hit my 4-iron high. I can't do what I can do with my 5-iron. I can have my stock one, which goes over 45 degrees just anyway, and then I can hit it higher if I want to, or I can hit it lower. When it comes to the 4-iron, effectively, all I can do is hit it as high as I can do to get it functional. And that's a one-dimensional golf club, and I don't like it. So I go to a 4 hybrid. There you go. Right, what's the time? Okay, so I'm going to do 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. Let's go have a very quick whip through. Carl says, ow, Andy, whatever that one's. Michael Johnson, hello, hope you're well. I used the 3 swing optimizer at the Mizuno, both at the Portland something golf show yesterday, and it was enlightening. It very much so is. If you've got someone who can truly explain it properly as well, it's even more enlightening, which is great. Spike claiming loose nuts on that one. Name withdrawn said, would still like to see you do a quick review of both the Highball XL driver. Again, get enough people get into the comments of videos that I have done and ask for the same thing enough. I can see enough people want the video and I will do it. No problem whatsoever. I'll reach out to same person, Strixon Golf, Cleveland Golf, same thing, and get it done. Spike says, I finished the big pile of parts. The drill is so hot. Pictures on Discord member area. Tyler says, with regards to the Cleveland wedges, what's the advantage of cavity versus forge? What players benefit from which? None really, because they're so much in the way of... Okay, so generally speaking, a cavity will have a slightly bigger sole, etc. So you'll have a slightly more effective bounce dependent. But again, that's very much so grind dependent, and the amount of bounce it's got stated on there dependent. So is there a forgiveness difference between them? Not necessarily from how forgiving is an iron. What you'll find is that as a generalized rule, the forged heads will have a center of gravity sweet spot centered to slightly heel, very slightly. And then the CB ones, the bigger the golf clubs, will have slightly higher perimeter weighting. And that will have the effect of just moving the center of gravity towards being very much so center or even fractionally center toe, dependent on how big the golf clubs are. That is it. And all that will be seen as is a retention of a consistent ball speed depending on your miss. If you miss from middle to heel, a forged head will be potentially much better. If you miss toe to center, the CB head will possibly be a little bit better. You have to measure it, etc. But as a generalized rule, that is it. But any other thing, not really. It all comes down to grind, all comes down to amount of bounce and effective bounce as well. Right, JPX 925 Forge versus MP243, which do you prefer? I know which one I prefer. Which one would I use? The MP241. And Hero says, Andy said I can't get mural. Well, you can get what you want. Don't listen to Andy. Jam Soup says, having the odd bit of joint pain. I understand what that means, understand how that feels, and it's not nice. And want to move to graphite in iron, so I'm assuming it's joint pain here. Any general rules on thoughts on what weight shafts to go for as a fitting required? Wow. No, it's really difficult, especially if you're very, very fast and trying to transition into graphite. Obviously, they do options, etc. From a Mizuno point of view, they don't really offer massive in the way of stock options and graphite that was going to really help the faster golfer. But depending on how fast you are, then there are options. I would go for a Mizuno fitting if you can do, because obviously just get your swing DNA numbers, see where you are, see how react to the different shafts, see what the bend profile differences of the graphite shafts are relative to the ones which the software choose for you, and see how well you get on. That's really the only thing you can do, unfortunately. And he's talking about my 6x192 5 hybrid is 205. There's your 13-yard gap. You didn't ask, but I'm telling you anyway. Thanks for the input. Anthony says, holy moly, we're about to have a bag of nuts. Dear me. Ryan says, what ideal yardage gap should you have between each iron? Depending on your speed. The faster you go, the bigger generically you will have. That's why people cry over the, oh, it's got 5 degrees of gap and it's got 6 degrees of gap and all this lot. And well, no, because it's very much distinctively different to how fast you swing. I've got 4-degree gaps and 3-degree gaps depending on what part of the, so I've got 27, 30, 34. So there's your 3 and the 4 and the 5, 6 and 7. But because I swing at my speed, I have a consistent certain 12, I'd say 13-yard gap between each iron. And of course, if I was to swing slower than that and have the same traditional set of irons with the same loft gaps, I'd go from a 91 miles an hour to say 68 miles an hour swing speed, and there'd be like 6 yards of gap between them. So you then move to a 5 to a 6 degree gap in certain irons and stuff like that, then your gapping becomes much more functional. This is why the whole idea, so get rid of the whole, I can't do this, I can't, it is speed dependent. And it is why this is when you get into the realms of custom fitting, when you have a senior come in and they have a 50-mile-an-hour swing and they say to you, what composition of irons should you have? And you're thinking about, well, a half set starting at 7. 7 iron is your most like that of this whatever loft, or you could start at 8 because again really hyper slow, and you could go 8 pitching wedge, sand wedge, and then you go into hybrids because you need that gap because they swing so slow. If not every single iron, the 7 iron, the 8 iron, the 9 iron and stuff, that have these micro tiny gappings. But that's what it's relevant to, nothing to anything else. And people have this massive thing about it, and it's for use for different golfers with different swing speeds. It's rare I'm using a hybrid off the tee, having a chat between yourselves, which is good. You don't have a 6-degree hybrid. Eric says, we like the QI35 video so many times, we're getting the core model review right. I will have a look at how many. Really what I need to do is stipulate on the video. If I get an X amount of likes on the video, then I'll do this. This is probably what I'll do. But I'll go through the comments and I'll add them all up and see what we've got. Spike says I could have watched Grant and Phil play the dailies, but would not have got the parts done. I would actually watch them, lol. Name withdrawn says cavity wedges will go about a yard higher on average. That's a good conversation. Anthony also says, Eero, Jay basically said you can get those mirrors. Jam says 80 mile an hour with a 6 iron and 95 to 100 with the driver. Yes. Hang on, what did Jam Soup said earlier? Having the odd joint partner. Okay, yeah. You are, okay, that might be, yeah. So you're going to be 78 or so. Go for a fitting. It's a really interesting fitting experience. You might be able to find something like a steel fibre or something like that. It's going to be potentially a little bit softer on for you, but go for a fitting and find out. I mean, Mizuno have got a very, very good selection of shafts. Obviously, if you do go to other places, Club Champion will have other shafts as well. Expect to play up, obviously an upcharge if you do, but if it works, it works. And if it carries you into elongating your enjoyment of golf, then why not? Absolutely. I can, pretty sure Andy will ban me, says Hero. I will not. Andy, but let's see who answers your Discord questions next time. See, that's a different way of doing it. Andy says you're a big nut now, unbannable tile. Nut nepotism or something like that. Oh my word. Let's scroll down. Andy says, dude, you had a chance to just say nutticism. Wow. Eero says, Jay, on your last serious question, my son got the 243s and hits them well. Gapping at the bottom is gap wedge 48 degrees. His old wedge he likes are 50, 54, 60s, Wilsons. Yes, that's true. Has he got them? Because you could weaken the 243s. That all depends on how much lie adjustment he's had, because obviously Mizuno's will allow to be bent a certain amount, but they'll only bend a certain amount in each axis. So they've got, let's say they've got 3 or 4 degrees of movement. If you're bending, say 2 degrees, I think like 3 degrees, I think it is. So if you're bending, say 2 degrees up in lie or down in lie or whatever it be, you've only got 1 degree in loft. But there you go. He likes a 54 out the sand, but how would you encourage him to think about lower end gapping? From my personal side, all it comes down is consistent loft gaps, consistent distance gaps. And then if you can bend your 243s to suit your current ones, if they're fresh, if they're good, if they've got lots of life in them, then absolutely you get your irons to suit, although there is a certain adage of saying that the wedges of all of them are going to wear out the quickest. And so, yes, you could actually opt for changing your wedges as well. It's an expensive way to go. Not so much if it's 54 and 60 are fairly worn. It's only really the 50, which is a bit of a different one. So you could look at different options potentially. But again, you could go 48, 52, 56, 60. I don't know. It would be, yeah. You'll have to, I would, be interesting. I don't know if, I think the Swing DNA now, Mizuno Swing DNA, they only have the high lofted wedges as options to hit within the custom fit environment. But places that are decent sized accounts may actually have the 50s and stuff like that for you to see what your distance gaps potentially are with them. But yeah. And he says, Eero is always wanting certain reviews. I think he's volunteering to check the comments on each video and tally the votes. Jam Soup, thanks Jay. You're welcome. Glad I could help. Paul, hello Paul, hope you're well. I had KBS Tour 110 regular change to Dynamic Gold 95 reg, but so inconsistent. Could you recommend something in between swing speed about 70 miles an hour with a 7-iron? Right, so Paul, it's absolutely the most important thing in your shaft choice is not speed, it's how that speed is created. That is what causes the requirements of different shafts. As you go through transition, it's the biggest, noisiest part of the golf swing as to how much that shaft is offended, how much bend you put in it. Depending on what your wrist angle is at the time you go through transition, we'll start the golf club off in either kick angle or toe down deflection, depending on how you look at it. And so, depending on how you do that at your 70 miles an hour, think of this. You've got John Rahm and Ernie Els, very similar swing speeds in themselves, massively different how they create that speed. John Rahm's going to need something like a scaffold pole to keep it stiff enough, to keep it, it's got to feel, what's the word I'm trying to think, it's got to feel stable. And the difference between Ernie Els being able to use a lighter profile, a not so aggressive profile, and still be stable is absolutely down to the transition and how much load gets put in, yet still the same speed. You need to go onto a Swing DNA tool, you need to go onto Mizuno custom fitting, get onto that Swing DNA tool, see how you load the shaft and see where your bend profile is. You have got the bend profiles on the Swing DNA software, the PFS software, and so you'll be able to physically see what shaft you need for your loading, how your bend profile is, and then see which one is closest to that. Ping bunker review. Haven't even seen it as yet. I did see Mark pop one out today. Haven't even seen it. So Yeah. Andy says, I just dropped the 60, go 48, 52, 56, 13 on the bounce number. That Eero said there's a lot of votes for the QI35 core. I think the judges are having to validate that number on that one because I'm not entirely certain that's right. Eero says, yeah, I agree with what you were thinking, Andy, but 15-year-olds like their 60s. Use at least loft possible. Every situation you get, use the least loft possible. And it says 97 miles an hour with a 7-iron, I can still swing a wet noodle without too much issue. And it says, I mean, he can keep it up for that one flop shot around. Yeah. Eero says, I'm an order to Jay, you can trust me. Well, maybe you need the drone then. Neil says, at Paul McKenna, that is also a huge change in weight. Your individual swing and body would react to that. And apparently the lower weight is too low to your mechanics. So again, all of that will be discussed within the custom fit on the Swing DNA tool. Right, guys, that was more than 5 minutes. That was more like 14 extra minutes. So I hope I was able to, go through. That was an hour and 40 or so, give or take. Right, guys, look out for the Cobra review. I will go get one thing before I go. Right, so that was the Cobra. That was the that is the Fat Boy version of the previous one, the X. However, I will show you something here which I have to review. I'm not sure when I'm going to get a chance to do it, so if anyone from this company is listening, it will be done. I am just exceptionally busy. And I'll be honest, no disrespect whatsoever, but as soon as those other ones come in, those ZXIs, they're being prioritized. I can absolutely say that. So I have got the 11 Golf still. I've got that to do. I haven't done that one yet. I know. And so you can see what the 11 Golf have done, of which I have not asked for, and I disagree with. I'll just put it out there. I didn't want this. They did it off their own back. So there was no request for this whatsoever. And this is what I don't like necessarily for a review. I don't mind one part of what they've done. I don't like the other bit, and I'll explain why very, very quickly before I go. So we have the 11 mini driver. Yeah, so we've got the neutral head. What I mean by neutral, this is a 13-degree head. They asked me which one do I want, 11 or 13. Well, if I'm never going to get the 11 off the ground, I won't even get the 13 off the ground, but you kind of get the idea. I like the fact that they've reached neutral, because I've got 3 heads, 1 draw, 1 fade and 1 neutral. And how they've done that is they've put hot melt, because within the 11 driver and also the mini driver, you can select hot melt location. So if you want it in the draw location, fade location, excuse me, YouTube when it pops, or the back location, then you can. And so this one, the neutral, is 12 grams of weight stuck at the back. I've got the draw, which is 12 grams of weight stuck in the heel, and the 12 grams of weight on the fade is stuck on the toe. And they've all got neutral, fade or draw in that location. There you go. What I don't like is the AskGolfNut. Because as soon as anyone watches this who doesn't know me at all, if this is really good, let's just say it's really good. I don't know yet. I haven't hit it, no dots on it. I haven't even as yet took 360 degree on the old camera, get out there like this, and so you can see what it looks like. I haven't even done that yet. I haven't hit it. And if it's really good and it says AskGolfNut, people are thinking, oh yeah, well he's reviewing something, he's got his blooming name on, so of course it's going to be good, isn't it? So I didn't necessarily agree with that. So I didn't want that, I didn't ask for it. I like the fact that they obviously put neutral on there, obviously to tell me which one was neutral fade. And the draw, I've got a feeling the draw head's going to be in, especially for a mini driver. It's exactly the thing I did with the PXG one. So the PXG Secret Weapon, there we go. When I had the weights in the neutral, couldn't get on with it whatsoever. As soon as I put the weight in the heel, it transformed the head completely. So I'm pretty certain this neutral head is in the bin, not in the bin, it's back in the head cover, and I'll get the draw head in there. 12, I can't remember how many yards as they say that they believe that it makes a difference. Hang on, let's have a little look. Can I see? Yes, I can. This is Nick from 11 Golf. 10 to 15 yards of movement from that weight location. There you go. That's what I've got. And obviously you've got the drivers and stuff. And of course, there you go. So I've got them to do as well. So I'm a busy man. Too much to do, not enough time to do it. I have other stuff I need to do as well at home. I've got lots and lots of work coming on soon as well, and I'm having to balance everything, and it is just, there's a problem when you're working constantly and things over the winter is absolutely fine because nothing really happens in the winter time, but when the summer comes, or the summer's starting to come, you can go out there today and you could feel it was on the way. Lots to do, but there you go. Right, so very quick, let's go through here very fast. Thanks very much. Before we go, famous last words. Where's my shaft? Let the record show that I'm the only one to like this live stream. Everyone should always like everything, please do. YouTube loves it, so do I. Mini drivers, that might be really good test of the new dispersion system. Absolutely, yes, we will do that one in 3 different heads. Will Ping ever make a mini driver? I believe one is on the way. Forrest, hello buddy, hope you're well. Can't wait for the Cobra review. Currently playing the Forged Tech and love them, but time to upgrade, absolutely. The new Forged Tech, or the King Tech as it's called, the new one, is low on the face, is much better. The Tech X, the King Tech X, is amazing. Absolutely, you could blend the Forged and the Forged Tech. Absolutely, you could blend the King Tech and the King Tech X. Why do these people come up with a different name? Stop calling it Tech, because they're numpty over here, can't remember which one's which, and then gets words tied round with the new one. And he says, time to get a bulk Sharpie out. Oh, no, yes, black Sharpie out, absolutely. Imagine how much that personalised mini driver would fetch on eBay. Not with AskGolfNut written on it. Neil says, you can easily just say that these DTC brands have to separate themselves so you can even get your name on driver. Yeah, I mean, from a point of view of you can get them laser etched, etc. I just feel it's a little bit, All Cobra, have you considered time travel, Jay? If only. Jay, Andy, if anything I could do, rather than time travel, what I'd like to do is basically separate myself. If I could have a superpower of basically split myself in 3, and I could do something, why I could do something, and then I can do something else. Jay Andy wants his Yukon on a shaft so he can get a 4-degree crank. Oh my God. And he says, Forged King Tech versus Chav Smash. Perfect, thanks. Oh dear, right. Guys, thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. It's been fun. Thank you everybody to all of your comments and chats and all your questions, etc. I hope I've done as best I can do when it comes to answering all of your questions. Hopefully tomorrow will be the King Tech. Yep. And Forest in there, they'll have the little comparison bit in the forgiveness side of things and the radar chart as well. And of course, that's all on the new website, www.askgolfnut.com. There you go. You can go on there, and obviously, if you're a member, you can access to different tiers and blah. So, yeah, So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. That's appreciated as always. And then we'll see each other again next Monday for another live stream. And then when it comes to the videos, tomorrow, and then hopefully maybe Wednesday, if not Thursday, if I can get the King Tech X video done in time. Right, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.